Hello, this is Dr. Beth Secord. I am going to tie everything that we've been talking about for the last couple weeks together in this lecture on whether AIs can be autonomous. And we're going to do a pro and con. So are the actions of AI autonomous? Well, what do I mean by autonomous? The organism is self-governing, their actions are freely chosen, and they're independent of external control. That is, they design their own lives, they make their own choices. And we've been asking that about Joy. Are her decisions to love Officer K, sacrifice her life, are those actions autonomous, or are they determined? So first we're going to start out with the con, that AIs cannot be free, that they are determined. So here's the con argument. So premise one, every material thing in the universe is subject to the laws of nature. Material things cannot do other than obey the laws of nature. AIs are material things. That means they're made out of matter. They're made out of physical parts. Therefore, AIs cannot do other than obey the laws of nature. Therefore, AIs are not free. Okay, so just to illustrate these concepts, I have a couple pictures here. So determinism. You can think of determinism, a string of dominoes or a row of dominoes. The dominoes are physical things. The first event is the force with which that first domino is pushed over. So the dominoes falling is determined by the laws of nature and the pre-existing conditions of the universe. So these are physical things, and every physical thing is acted upon by physical forces. It is part of the universe. It does not stand, physical things do not stand outside of the nexus of cause and effect. So obviously AIs are more complicated than a domino, but essentially they're just physical things being acted upon by the forces of nature. And this just says, please indicate on the simulation where determinism will become free will. If you knew all the laws and the initial conditions of the universe, and if you were smart enough, you could predict everything that would happen. So here is the Big Bang and the initial conditions of the universe. That is, so the Big Bang is the force that acts upon whatever initial matter is there in the singularity. Bang. So it's like a pool table. You can think about the whole universe is the pool table. The initial conditions, the pool balls in that triangle thing, the Big Bang is the force and the speed and the angle at which the pool player breaks the rack. And then if you're smart enough, you'll be able to predict everything that will happen. You'll calculate all the motion of all the pool balls, and you can say 1500 at this time, this will happen, this will happen, this will happen, if you can trace all those particles. All right, so you might be having the objection right now, well, what about indeterminism? Haven't we discovered that our world is not totally deterministic, it's also indeterministic? These indeterministic parts of the quantum world allow for free will. It says that all things are either determined or indeterminate. If things are determined, then we are not free, because you could not do otherwise. So if things are determined, you're not free. However, surprisingly, if things are indeterminate, then you are not free either. So either way you go, there is no free will. Why is it that if things are indeterminate, there's no free will? Well, in quantum physics, it's not like the particle has a reason why it decays at a certain time. It's just random. At least that's the interpretation of quantum physics now. is that these things happen randomly and for no reason. But if what is causing your free choice is something that's random and not chosen, then that's not really free, because you have to have chosen it. You have to have chosen it for a reason. So we are not free. And then there's another reason why quantum indeterminacy probably would not give us free will, at least the standard interpretation of it. So I don't have his name. He was on one of the Closer to Truth videos that I didn't assign, but it was a Nobel laureate in physics, and he said with disdain, people who say that quantum events make room for free choices do not understand orders of magnitude. So basically, he's saying that quantum events take place at such a small level that there's really no way they would have a macro effect. The micro is so micro that it's just orders of magnitude smaller, and he says that people that start thinking that quantum events make way for free will really don't understand the math. Okay, so you might have this might have already occurred to you, but everything that we've just said about AIs also applies to humans. So in this picture, I have an AI with two humans on either side. So if humans are just physical things, then really we are no different than an AI who is, let's just for the sake of the argument, said this is a conscious AI that has strong artificial intelligence. So if human beings are just physical things, then we're not different in kind. We're just made up of different stuff. Our computers are carbon-based. Her computer is silicon-based, but we're both physical. And what would this say about free will for us? Well, the prior argument would say that our choices are also determined by prior events in the universe, because we are also physical things. The prior events that are themselves out of our control. So yeah, humans would be in the same boat as AIs in this scenario. Okay. Here's the objection. Well, perhaps there's a non-physical part of us that stands outside of the chain of cause and effects in the physical world. That non-physical self could be the autonomous agent that would initiate changes in the physical world. So this is an objection. This argument here presuppose that everything in the universe, so this says AIs are material things. I said this also applies to us. Humans are material things. Therefore, humans cannot do other than obey the laws of nature. Well, maybe there's premise 2. We can object to premise 2. Is it true that humans are 100% physical or material? Perhaps there is a part of us that is not material, not physical, that is not subject to the laws of nature. Now, some of you will be saying at this point, that's crazy talk. Well, that's okay. Okay, so perhaps there's this non-physical part of ourselves. That non-physical part of ourselves would not be subject to the cause and effect, the nexus of cause and effect in the physical world. So if one has a non-physical self, then one has the capacity for free choice. This non-physical self, some people call a soul. The soul is kind of a religiously loaded term. So some people call it the mind or the self, a substantial self. So is a soul necessary for free choice? Do you have to have a soul for free choice? So some say substance dualism is necessary for both consciousness and free will. So I've mentioned substance dualism before. Substance dualism is the view that we're not 100% material or physical things, that we also have a non-physical part to ourselves that some people call a soul. Now that thing is responsible, dualists say, for conscious experience, for the felt sensation, feelings of consciousness, as well as this robust notion of free will. So is it true that only those with immaterial souls are free? Well, according to some substance dualists, yes, you have to have this extra immaterial part of yourself to be free. So here's the pro, that AIs are autonomous, and we can do this in two ways. The first way is, let's go back one, oops. The first way is just to say, you do need a soul. The soul is necessary for free choice, this immaterial, non-physical, supernatural part of yourself is necessary for freedom, but perhaps AIs get those too. So whoever's handing them out, however they get distributed, who's to say that the AI isn't going to get one as well? Okay, here's the other proposition. So maybe souls aren't necessary for free autonomous choice, but something that's not physical arises from the physical and then will turn around and cause changes in the physical. Now, if that's confusing, that's because it is. So I'll just read this. Some say we don't need a supernatural immaterial soul for free will. That is, consciousness, free will arises out of sufficiently complex physical systems. So you have a physical system that's complex enough, and then consciousness emerges, and free will emerges, and consciousness emerges out of this physical system, and then your conscious free decisions will turn around and make changes in the physical system that gave rise to it. If you ask John Searle or Jaegwon Kim about it, they're really upfront and they say, really, we have no clue as to how this would work. And what we need is a giant leap forward in the scientific understanding of the brain and of complex computer systems and information systems. There needs to be a paradigm shift in scientific understanding. Yeah, so on this view, we are completely physical. And then when biological organisms or artificial intelligences get sufficiently complex, then you have consciousness and freedom emerging from that complexity. So on this pro side, we have possibility that AIs are autonomous. And interestingly enough, humans are in the same boat here as AIs. So biological organisms on the evolutionary scale, when they get sophisticated enough, all of a sudden they have conscious experiences and they're able to make autonomous choices. So somewhere between an amoeba, a bee, a spider, and a trout, a rainbow trout, consciousness emerges. On this theory, AIs would be like that too. So my computer is like an amoeba. When computer systems get sufficiently complex, then on this theory, AI system will arise that is conscious and also free to choose. Okay, but I would like to point out that really we don't know how that would happen. How is it that a thing that's purely physical would be able to stand outside of the laws of nature that are exerting causal forces upon it? Okay, so that is my lecture, and that hopefully ties everything up for you.